Hello and welcome into another video on this channel. Today we'll be talking about a very important element for every developer, which is Git. Git is a version control system created by Linus Torvalds, the same person which created Linux. And today we will go to a GitHub, which is a web-based platform for developers and for GitHub for Git repositories. We will create ourselves as an account, create ourselves a repo, and then go through console and do everything so that we can push our local project to GitHub repository. So let's see what we will do today. Alright, so we are on a github.com main page. And let's create ourselves firstly an account. contact@briefly.dev. Sign up. Right, this is my email. Let's create ourselves a password. Your username, briefly not available, dev briefly, okay, continue. Alright, let's wait a moment. Alright, let's find this clue and let's do. Alright, I will go to my email in the back and get the code. And we are almost finished. Skip. Alright. We have our GitHub account. So let's create ourselves a repo to which we'll push our latest Next.js to-do list. So let's click here to create a repository. And this is the owner, so dev briefly the account we created. And let's call it a to-do list Next.js. Description and whatever, it will be public or private. If it will be public, anyone on the internet can see this repository. You choose who can commit. Private, you choose who can see and commit to this repository. We'll stick with public because in the future, when we will be creating a new projects, I will push them at the end to the repo so that you have access to the code. Let's not add README. Let's not add anything else. Let's just create this repository for now. And then we will have a little snippet what we need to do to push this to the GitHub repository. So in the back here, I'm on our Ubuntu server, and let's do ls. And I here have a projects folder in which there is this to-do list project which we did lately. One of the things in this project which Next.js did for us is the file called gitignore. So whatever there will be written in gitignore, those files won't be committed to the repo. It is a very brief description and a basic template from Next.js so that we, let's say, don't add node modules which weigh a lot and we can install them. It doesn't go with a boot folder and it doesn't go with like environment variables files or some debug logs. So let's right now see what we would need to do. The first thing for sure would be the git command itself. I already have it pre-installed on this Ubuntu, but if you would need to install Git, no matter if it will be a Windows-based system or OS X based system, you can go to the mine Git page, which is a free and open source, and you can install for your specific OS. Then you will have access to a Git CLI in Git command, and let's start adding the commands. So first is git init. It will initialize the repo in this particular folder, and it creates .git folder in which it will store all the files related to the version control. The next thing is to add the files. So we will do git add dot. It will add all the files to the commit which we want to prepare. We will talk very deeply about Git in the future videos, so watch out for them. Let's just do a git add, and it will add all the files. Right now, let's do a git commit -m with a message. So let's call git commit -m with a message of to-do list YouTube project. Okay, author identity you know. Please tell me who you are. So if you are starting with Git and you are installing it for the first time, your system isn't yet prepared and combined with this account. So first thing we need to do is to run those two commands. So we will add to the operating system and to the git config our email. So I will add contact.briefly.dev, and we will add our name so that Git knows who we are when we commit something. So another thing, username briefly dev. Let's call it like that. Okay, we have those two. Let's get back to git commit. I will take it from history. Okay, we added those files, we added this message, we have ourselves a commit. Another thing is to instantiate a branch. Right now we will be instantiating with main. The previous repos were usually a master branch, but the naming changed from master to main some time ago, but you can use whatever name you would like. The convention is that usually the main or the master production branch is called main or master, and you have, let's say, QA branch for QA, dev for development, staging for staging, and then your feed branches, which we will talk in the future. So let's do another command, and then git remote add. This will make a connection between our local repo and the repo we created on the GitHub.com page. So as you can see, github.com/dev briefly. So this is the usual GitHub convention. So we have a domain name, then we have a account, and next there is a name of the repo. So let's click that. And right now, the last thing is to push. So git push will push this repo and all those files with this commit message to the origin main, so up to the GitHub servers. To do that, we will need to log in. So our username, we know that it's dev briefly. But the password, for some time already, GitHub doesn't allow for you to log in with this specific password. They disabled the password login. You need to do it in two different ways. We will need to go to settings, and then at the bottom we have developer settings. This is one of the possibilities to authenticate with GitHub, so creating a personal access token, either token classic, which will allow you for access to everything on this account, or find grained, which allows us to specify the specific repos that this token has access to, what permissions on those repo it has, either it is only read or it is write. The other type of authentication would be an SSH key. The SSH authentication, it's something that we will cover in another video. Today just to go briefly about that, we will create a classic token. Let's generate a new classic token. I will write it briefly dev. You can see the node is just a node for you. There is an expiration on this token, on non-expiration. I will make it 90 days, and here is the scope. So let's do a scope to the repos. There can be also a scope to workflows or some admin stuff. We will not get into details of that today. So we have a repo scope and a token. Let's generate it. And here we have our token. If you will go and skip this page or go out of this page, this is something that you cannot get back. So if you won't write this token somewhere, you need to go back, delete the token, and to create a new one. Alright, we have our token, and the token is going into the password field. So I'm pushing it to here, and we are correctly authenticated, and we pushed to the dev briefly. So let's go to the main page, let's go to our repo, and we will see that we have our very first commit, and the files are here. So whatever you have in README file, it's presented here. It's an Next.js template, and here you can view, let's say, commits. So we have our first commit, to-do list, YouTube project, committed by dev briefly. And that's everything for today. We will go into Git and GitHub a lot more in the future. See you next time.